Hello kindergarten. So today we are going to explore some of our art media in the room. And art media means the different supplies that we use, like pencils, crayons, paint. And we are going to practice using a bunch of different art media. So the first thing you're going to do is take your paper, you're going to fold it in half. So you're going to take one side of your paper, make it reach the other side and touch. Use your hand to hold it down, and then you'll take your finger and run it across your paper until you make a crease, and you press it down, and then you'll press up and then back down. And now open that up, and you have folded it in half once. Now we're going to fold it in half a second time. So you're going to take the top of your paper, bend it down, make it reach the bottom, hold it with one hand, use your other hand to go across to crease it, open your paper up, and now you have 4 boxes. So you're going to take your pencil and you're going to trace on top of that crease line. Oops, I went off. That's okay. I'll just go back where I went off and make it meet. And then flip your paper over and you're going to write your name. And the day you have art. Day A, day B, day C. Whatever day you have. Flip it back over. And the first media that we're going to use today is crayon. And we are going to use some lines to make some shapes. So let's review the different kinds of lines. There are lines that are straight, lines that are curved or bent. Now, if you take a curved line and you bring it one end of the line to the other end of the line, you make a shape. So I'm going to draw a curved line and I'm going to end where I started. And that makes what shape, kindergarten? Correct, it makes a circle. Now, if you don't make the lines meet up at the end and it looks like this, and there's an opening or a gap there, that's not a shape. A shape is a closed line. So if I close this off, then I made it. Now, if you curve your line and make it a little bit longer and bring it the two ends to meet at the end, it's a squished circle, which is also called an oval. And so we're going to practice this shape on our paper. So you're going to take your crayon, and in one of the boxes you're going to draw some circles and some ovals. You're not going to draw on the other boxes, just in one box. And you can draw some small circles, making sure to make the ends of the curved line meet and touch. You could draw some medium circles. You could draw some really big circles. And you can draw some ovals. And you're going to draw these circles and ovals inside this one box. Now once you've drawn and filled up the box, you're going to go back with your crayon and you're going to color it in. And you're going to stay inside the shape and color in the space. Now the small circles, it's okay to kind of color around in a circle to fill in the small circles. But if you have larger circles, it's harder to do. And you don't want to color one way and up the other. So the best way, or the neatest way to color with crayon, is to color in the same direction. So I'm coloring side to side. I'm not going up and down and diagonal. I'm coloring side to side to fill in this circle and make it solid. And I'm doing my very, very best to stay inside the circle and not go outside the circle. And then when I get to the edges of the circle, maybe I change the direction of my crayon coloring just to fill in those spaces. So you're going to continue to do this until you fill in all of your circles or ovals that are inside this space. The next art media that we're going to use today is a marker. And markers have caps, so you'll need to pull the cap off. And then you're going to flip the cap around and put it on the end of the marker so you don't lose the cap. If the cap isn't put at the end of the marker and it's left on the table, it might roll off and fall on the floor. Someone might kick it or step on it, and then you won't have the lid to put back on the marker, and then it dries out and nobody can use it. So make sure you put the cap on the end of your marker so you don't lose it. And you're going to pick a new box to color in. So you could pick this box, or this box. It's completely up to you. You're the artist, you get to decide. I'm going to work in this box. And I'm going to practice my circles and my ovals one more time with my marker. So just like in this box, you can use your marker to draw some small circles. You can use your marker to draw some medium circles. And you can use your marker to draw large circles. And you're going to do this until the space is filled in, full of circles and ovals. And make sure they're closed, that you don't have any that are open and not closed all the way. And then you're going to take your marker and you're going to color in the circles. And just like with crayon, the smaller circles you could probably just kind of color in with a circly motion. But larger or medium ones, you're going to want to color the same direction, back and forth, or up and down. I kind of accidentally went out the edge of my oval, so I can just go back and make it a little bit bigger by curving that line around the edge, and that fixes the mistake that I made by going outside of the circle or oval shape. When you're finished using your marker, you want to put the cap back on, and you want to hear that snap when you put the lid on. So when you put the lid or cap back on, if you don't hear a snap, it's not on all the way. So you got to push until you hear that snap. The next art media we're going to use is colored pencil. It looks very much like a regular pencil, only it has color that you draw with instead of the gray graphite color that you usually see in a regular pencil. And when we use color pencil, you are going to need to share a paper towel and a pencil sharpener. Now this is a pencil sharpener glued to a stick. And the reason the pencil sharpener is glued to the stick is they're little sharpeners and they get lost and sometimes thrown away by accident. So I've glued them to the stick so they don't get lost. And you'll see at the end of the pencil sharpener there are two holes. There's a big hole and a small hole. We'll use the small hole to sharpen, but right now I don't need to sharpen because my pencil has a nice point on it. So I'm going to pick a new space, and this time I'm going to try to draw triangles. And triangles use a straight line. A triangle has three sides. So you're going to draw a straight line, straight diagonal line down and to one side. You're going to go across, and then you're going to make the two ends of these lines meet. You could also do an upside down triangle by drawing the letter V and then closing the top off with a straight line. And just like with circles and ovals, the lines need to all touch at the ends. So I can't draw a triangle like this because that's not a triangle yet. It has to be closed. Just like with the circles and the ovals, you can draw some small triangles, some medium triangles, and I pressed too hard on my pencil and it broke. So I'm going to sharpen it now. I'm going to put it in the small hole. And to sharpen a color pencil, you hold it over the paper towel, push the pencil in, and while you push in, you twist. and you'll see the pencil shavings coming out the top of the sharpener, and they should fall on the paper towel. That way we don't have pencil shavings all over the floor or all over the table. Draw that medium triangle, making sure to close those lines up, and then a large triangle. Have your space filled with triangles, you're going to go back and color these in with a color pencil, and just like with crayon and marker, you're going to try to color in the same direction. So I'm going to color up and down, trying to stay inside the triangle as best I can, and then I change the direction to fill in the spaces along the edge. So you're going to do this until you have all of your triangles colored in. And then the final paint we're going to use is the pan watercolor, the dried watercolor. So this time you're going to get your paintbrush wet, and you're going to get it wet, put it on top of the oval, and pull your bristle across so that you get water on top of the paint. Dip your paintbrush in the water, pull your bristles across the edge of the oval. Bristles are this hairy part on the end of your paintbrush. Dip it in the water, pull it across, and now you might be able to see, I don't want you lifting everything up and holding it with your hands. I'd like you to leave it on the tray, but you can see there's a puddle of water on top of my color. So now I take my paintbrush, I wiggle the water around. I'm not taking my paintbrush and jabbing it in there and trying to scoop out this dry paint. I'm just wiggling it around the water, wiggling the water around like almost like I'm swimming around a pool. And then now I have paint on my paintbrush. And so now in this box, you can do any kinds of shapes you want. Circles, ovals, squares, rectangles, triangles, whatever you choose. So I think I'm going to try a little bit of each. So I'm going to paint a small circle. Now I think I'm going to draw a medium, or paint a medium triangle. Let's see, I'll paint a really big square. Okay, so far my puddle of water on top of this paint is still there. I haven't needed to put more water on my paint yet, so I've just been dipping into the oval pan with my bristles and picking up. My bristles are like a sponge, they kind of pick up the water that's inside, or the paint that's inside there. Now my oval's dry, I don't have any more, so I'm going to take my paintbrush, dip it in and out of the water, pull it across the oval, in and out of the water, pull it across the oval. So now I have another puddle of paint. So I'm going to swim around in the pool a little bit, wiggle my paintbrush, swirl the water around, and now I should have enough paint to finish painting in my shapes in this box. Forgot, let's see, I haven't done an oval somewhere, so I think I'm going to fit a tiny oval in here, and now I have all of the shapes in this last box, which I think is kind of fun. So now that I'm finished, I'm going to take my paintbrush, leave it in the water basin. I'll collect the water basins with your paintbrushes, I'll collect your paints, and then I'm going to show you how to take your paper and go put it on the drying rack to dry. And that way they don't all stick together if we put them on top of each other. So we're going to separate them on the drying rack. Good job, kindergarten.